Okay, let's jump right into this explainer. When we think about global football's absolute biggest stage, our minds instantly go to the established megastars, right? The household names. But true football obsessives know that's only half the story. We've pulled together the latest scouting intel from all our sources, and today, we're going to uncover the hidden gems, the tactical puzzle pieces that are literally about to explode onto the global scene at the 2026 World Cup. Because let's be real, the World Cup isn't just a victory lap for superstars. It's a massive pressure cooker where total unknowns can become legends overnight. Think about it. Every 4 years, a player nobody was entirely ready for steps onto the pitch and completely alters the trajectory of the whole tournament. Form goes right out the window, fatigue sets in, and suddenly, having a highly specialized skill set becomes way more valuable than global fame.
And we're heading into a really fascinating transition in 2026. On one hand, you have these legendary icons, guys like Lionel Messi for Argentina or Edin Dzeko for Bosnia and Herzegovina. Massive, massive legacies. But they're getting older, and they simply can't play every single minute at maximum intensity anymore. That creates a vacuum. And stepping right into that void is a brand new generation, the 2026 Wonder Kids. You might not know all their names yet, but they possess the exact, terrifying traits a manager needs to flip a game on its head in the 80th minute.
Let's get into our first tactical grouping, the chaos creators. These are your explosive wide players who just break games wide open.
So this is where the magic, and honestly, the sheer panic for defenders happens. Now, the crucial thing to understand here is that these guys aren't just fast. Their specific job is to inject controlled chaos when a game gets stuck in the mud. In modern international football, defensive blocks are incredibly organized. You can pass the ball side to side all day and get absolutely nowhere. A chaos creator is the antidote to that. They take a simple one-on-one and turn it into total structural panic for the opposition. We built a scouting board of some ultimate game breakers to keep an eye on. Take 18-year-old Ibrahim Mbaye. He plays with this crazy fearlessness for PSG and Senegal, just attacking defenders without a second of hesitation. Then you have Mikel Olise, who's evolved into one of Europe's most lethal attacking threats at Bayern Munich, which, gives an already stacked French team another match winner. But let's look a little closer at how these weapons actually work on the pitch.
Look at Antonio Nusa for Norway. His delirious ability out on the wing literally forces defenders to choose between stopping him or stopping Erling Haaland. It's a nightmare scenario. Our intel describes Nusa as having a vertiginous change of pace. So if a defense collapses on Haaland in the middle, Nusa takes the open lane and destroys them out wide. But if they step out to deal with Nusa's dribbling, Haaland gets all the space he needs in the box. It is the ultimate tactical dilemma.
12. That is the number of goals Ivory Coast's Jan Diomandé racked up for RB Leipzig this season, along with a pile of assists. We're not talking about a 19-year-old who might be good someday. His hype is backed by very real, tangible output right now. He receives the ball wide, attacks the fullback, and forces those help defenders out of position. It's basically a ready-made World Cup breakout formula. And then, for a team like Australia, who might struggle to string together long, sustained attacking spells, you have Nestor Irunga. He provides this sudden, pure detonation to flip the territory instantly. Against heavy favorites, a physical, disciplined team like Australia absolutely needs a pressure release valve. When the ball finds Irunga, the entire game changes. He drives hard, shoots early, draws fouls, and literally drags his team 40 yards up the pitch in a blink.
All right, let's shift gears to category number 2, the pocket creators, your elegant midfielders dictating the tempo. So if the chaos creators we just talked about are the lightning, these guys, they're the gravity. They aren't going to sprint past 3 defenders. Instead, they make the ball do the work. When a match gets super frantic and the pressure feels suffocating, pocket creators are the elegant playmakers who receive the ball in those impossibly tight spaces, slow the heart rate of their entire team, and calmly pick the lock. It's a really fascinating mix of profiles here. You've got 17-year-old Gilberto Mora, who is already carrying huge hopes for Mexico, offering this classic pause and control, which is just a staggering amount of maturity for a kid who basically just got his driver's license. And then there's Germany's new heartbeat, Alexander Pavlovich, who reads danger and dictates play with a poise that's already got German legends singing his praises. For Argentina, the dynamic to watch is how the brilliant Nico Paz fits into a system where, well, everything traditionally flows through Lionel Messi. Paz is coming off a sensational season at Como, showing incredible vision. But with the national team, Messi is the sun, right? Everyone orbits him. So the takeaway here isn't that Paz is supposed to replace Messi.
No, his job is to be that essential extra connector, keeping the attack ticking smoothly when opponents inevitably try to aggressively shut Messi down.
Not playing for force, but for talent. I love this quote because it perfectly captures Algeria's Ibrahim Maza. He's this incredibly elegant number 10 who breaks defensive lines with a single, perfectly weighted pass rather than using raw physical dominance. At Bayer Leverkusen, he's proven he can receive, turn, and accelerate the whole offense by himself. He's exactly the kind of differential playmaker Algeria needs to slice open a stubborn defense.
Now, for top-tier powerhouses like Portugal and Germany, guys like Joao Neves and Pavlovic serve as vital control valves. This is a huge point from our intel. When you have a squad packed with massive egos and attacking superstars, the danger is that everybody tries to win the game on their own. The team gets emotional, they get rushed. Joao Neves at PSG has already shown he can absorb elite pressure. His job is simple, but absolutely critical. Receive, release, and reset. He brings the calm.
Moving on to our third category, the press escapes. These are your hybrids who relieve pressure, especially for underdog nations.
This is where pure tactical necessity meets individual brilliance. Picture this. You're a smaller nation up against a global powerhouse. You are going to get pressed relentlessly. If your only response is to blindly boot the ball up the pitch, it's just going to come right back at you like a boomerang, inviting more suffering. You need a highly specific hybrid player. Someone with the physicality to survive a brutal duel and the technical skill to spin out of it and launch a counterattack. You need to breathe. Honestly, these guys are the unsung heroes of any deep tournament run. Look at Senegal's Lamine Camara, currently at Monaco. He is the definition of a midfield bridge. Senegal has plenty of pace and power, sure, but to survive the knockout stages, they need someone who can win the ball in the trenches, keep it, and transition it forward cleanly. That is Camara in a nutshell. Sweden's Lucas Bergvall is another fantastic example. Sweden can play a very physical, direct style, aiming for big targets like Alexander Isak up front. Naturally, top opponents are going to try to choke off that supply line. That's where Bergvall comes in. His value lies entirely in his elite first touch. If he can take just one touch to bypass the pressing defender before the trap closes, suddenly the entire pitch opens up for Sweden's attackers. It's really interesting to contrast the different flavors of this role, too. For South Africa, Relebohila Mofokeng uses his dribbling not as a luxury, but for pure survival, carrying the ball out of danger so his defense can reset. On the other hand, you have Jens Kastrup, who is actually the first dual heritage player in a South Korean squad. Kastrup provides this unglamorous but totally essential hybrid midfield coverage. He provides the structural legs required to balance out a team built around the emotional star power of Heung-min Son. Which brings us to part 4, the breakout formula. Exactly how do these relatively unknown teenagers suddenly become global superstars? So, what actually triggers a breakout on the world stage? Synthesizing everything from our sources, the blueprint is super clear. The World Cup creates very specific problems, and these youngsters are the highly specific solutions. Maybe it's a tired opposition fullback in the 75th minute. Maybe a heavy favorite is getting frustrated by a low block. Or maybe a star starter goes down injured. These are the exact moments a manager looks at the bench and says, I don't need the most famous player right now. I need the exact tool to fix this exact problem. And that is honestly the biggest takeaway of this whole explainer. It's not about being the best, most complete, all-around player in the world yet. It is purely about having the specific weapon your team desperately needs in the 80th minute of a tied game. Diomande gives you pure production. Paz gives you that pocket control. Irankunda gives you raw explosion. Sure, they might have flaws in their overall game today, but for a 15-minute window when everything is on the line, that one trait becomes absolutely priceless.
The World Cup does not wait for a player to be fully ready. It just creates a problem. This piece of intel really hits the nail on the head. A major tournament demands instant answers. When the moment comes, nobody cares if you're 18, 19, or 21 years old. If you can provide the spark, find the passing angle, or escape the press, you literally go from a relative unknown to a global superstar in the blink of an eye.
So based on the tactical profiles we've just broken down, which of these secret weapons do you think is going to define 2026? Are we going to see a chaos creator completely shatter a final? Will a pocket creator thread an impossible miracle pass? Or will a press escape artist save their nation from the brink? The established megastars will always sell the tickets, but keep your eyes glued to these tactical puzzle pieces because they're the ones who are actually going to steal the show.